All right, so it has been a little while, but today we're going to talk about Tesla's Q2 delivery result, which we're probably going to have in a day or two. And I think this one's going to be particularly interesting because if you look at it from the deliveries perspective, we're just going to see a little bit of an uptick from the previous quarter. And most estimates are going to be around 450,000 cars. Now, I've seen a couple predictions over 480K, but I think that's a little bit exaggerated. I don't know if we hit that much, to be honest. There's a ton of people trying to predict deliveries, counting containers. The odds of some of those people making a mistake of that magnitude where like they missed 30K or 40K or that many cars for this quarter is extremely unlikely. So I think there's going to be a little bit of a surprise, but I doubt it's going to be on the actual delivery number. Now, on that note, I want you guys to look at the actual production versus deliveries for Model S and Model X. And notice that this has actually been pretty in sync for the last, I don't know, many years. And it wasn't until last Q4 and then last quarter that this started to deviate. And notice that deliveries versus production had never been in this much of a difference. I mean, this is about 10,000 deliveries. Now, if history is an indication of what's about to happen, I would put my money on that this trend is going to reverse to the historical mean, which is pretty close production to delivery. Now, why do I say that? Well, it's because Tesla actually told us as such in the delivery reports for last quarter. They said that the difference between deliveries and production for this past quarter was mainly because we had a lot of vehicles and chips going to Europe and Asia. Now, you gotta remember that Model 3 and Model Y are being produced in every single continent, but Model S and Model X are only produced in Fremont, California. So they have to be exported in chips to Asia and Europe. They don't have local production of that. And since they released Plaid and the new refresh, we haven't had a lot of deliveries of S and X on those regions. Hence, the buildup in inventories for those higher premium segments. Now, why is it important that we have this bounce in S and X? Well, the main reason is because Model S and Model X are a positive contributor on gross margins. And historically, we've seen that the lower these deliveries are, the lower margins come because they might be small numbers, but the gross margin contribution is significantly higher, probably twice as much as a Model 3 and 1.7 times as much as a Model Y. In fact, historically speaking, Model S specifically has had gross margins of greater than 30% for the last decade. Tesla, before starting Model 3, they actually became profitable for a little while, just on the back of Model S and Model X, meaning that Model S and Model X are crucial if we want to actually rebound in terms of gross margin. And I sound like a broken record in terms of margins, but this is so important because this is what drives the stock. In terms of the actual trend for gross margins, we talked about in previous videos, has gone down significantly in the last 18 months. And this culminated in Q1. As we get more S and more X, I believe this is gonna make gross margins rebound for next quarter, which is obviously gonna be in Q2. And this we're gonna see tomorrow or the day after tomorrow in the delivery numbers. I can't wait to break those down because I wanna see this S and X numbers. Now you gotta understand that in here, Elon said that they're gonna try advertisement. And what that signals to a market is that he's not gonna compromise gross margins anymore. And what happened right after? Tesla just went double, right? Like it went bonkers. This is the bottom that we covered a couple of weeks ago where I didn't think it was going to go back to 100. Then he says the thing about advertisement, reassures the investment class that he's not going to compromise margins anymore. Then we see prices actually go up for the first time in forever. And then now we are betting on a rebound in X and X, and that all signals to a market that margins are going to continue to rebound and go up. Now, some of you guys a couple of weeks ago asked me what do I use to make some of these charts. And essentially, I used to use Excel, but lately I've been working on this little tool right here, which is free, by the way. And this is called Visual Stocks. If I just say I want to do like revenue or something, just type it here, and then it will tell me revenue for Tesla. I want to say 5 years or 10 years or whatever. Now, copying all this data for a decade to Excel and then chart it, it's extremely difficult for me because I don't type very fast. That's what this tool is for, to save me time in charting some of the Tesla charts that I present in this channel, or if I put on Twitter or whatever. Every single chart that I created in this little chart engine. And, if you don't want to go through all this trouble, you can always go to the dashboard, which I also use, and these are some of the most important charts used. For example, deliveries, pretty straightforward. You can see the differentiation between Model S and Model X and 3 and Y. So Tesla just divides it in that sort of segment. So in terms of revenue segments, you can take out the automotives and see just energy and services and whatnot. Some of the things that I can't stop talking about, like the auto margins, these are going to be updated every single quarter soon as the results come out. So this is probably the most important chart that I take a look at. And then, the classics like operating leverage. This is why Tesla went up the 20x because of this chart right here. And then the newest chart that I found very, very useful are the contributions from non-auto parts of the business. This is how much energy and services contribute to the overall profitability of Tesla. If FSD is a success, you're going to see it in this chart. If Megapack is a success, you're going to see it in this chart. If supercharging becomes a success, you're going to see it in this chart as well. This is by far the most important chart. If you want to see some of the home run opportunities that Tesla has for the future, you're going to see all of it in this chart. So anyway, link in the description if you want to use it. Of course, it's free. We'll break down the deliveries as soon as we get them and the results as well. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.